How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video here on Chemo 365, where I hope out of the 365 days out of the year, you can find a video here that you can relate to. And as always, guys, if you want to help support the channel, please hit that subscribe button down at the bottom. Leave as many comments as you want, and if you really like the video, smash that thumbs up button. Tonight we're going to talk about one of the first plays I saw at the Smith Center, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. You know that I acted in a few plays and I really am into theater, but I don't really know a lot about theatrical plays, so I've never really heard about this play. I looked into it, read about it before I went, and man, was I pleasantly surprised. I have to start off by talking about the main character, Christopher Boone, and the stage, because they're one in the same. Now, normally I start off by talking about that magic moment when you first get into the theater and you see the stage for the first time and you're kind of taking it in. You can hear the orchestra warming up, people are kind of murmuring and coming in. When you sit down, all you're going to see is like something on a Tron. It's this really big empty stage. It looks like something on a Tron. It actually looks like a big piece of graph paper, just all white though, nothing is lit up. The entire stage is one gigantic LED stage, but it's all empty on the inside. Now, what that's supposed to represent is the inside of Chris's mind, and Chris is a 15-year-old, 3-month, 2-day-old child who is autistic. He's on the higher end of the autistic spectrum. He's a mathematical genius, but because of his condition, he's a little bit socially awkward. But this play all takes place inside of his mind, and that's what that stage represents. So when things are going great, it's super in focus, but when things are kind of blurry, things are all over the stage. And I'm going to talk more about that, but first I want to talk more about Christopher Boone. So he's a highly functional autistic child, mathematical genius, but again, socially awkward because of that condition. And what you come to figure out is, again, the stage is set up to look like a piece of graph paper. All of the squares are perfect dimensions so that he can put things that he thinks about in certain areas. And that's why he loves math, because it's logic. Now, anything outside of that, anything he can't shove into one hole makes him very uncomfortable. For example, humans, right? Our facial expressions and the things that we say all have different nuances and nonverbal cues. He mentions the raising of the eyebrow and what that could mean. When he sees it, he's just like, I don't want to deal with people because I don't know what you're trying to say to me. Just say what you're trying to say to me. And even with that, even when somebody says something to him, it can mean something totally off that doesn't make sense. For example, he mentions, I don't like it or I don't get it when somebody says to be quiet because they don't tell you how long to be quiet. And it's that sense of humor, and it's not really even humor, and that's what I enjoy about this play is, or one of the things I enjoy about the play is, nobody's trying to be funny in this play. It is his logical perspective against all of us illogical people. It's almost like a Spock or a Big Bang Theory humor, where the two don't line up, and when you see it, when somebody of a logical nature is talking to somebody that's kind of oblivious, it's a funny interaction, and it happens throughout the entire play. Another thing he has problems with is touch, because he can't predict when somebody is going to touch him, and the emotion that is felt when he is touched, it makes him go all crazy. And you see that in the performance of the ensemble when they're moving around the stage and how they interact the LEDs when things are going crazy. But we'll talk about that a little bit later on when I talk about blocking and staging and all that. But so that's what we're dealing with. Yes, originally he gets into the scene where there's been a murder, a dog has been killed, and that's what he's trying to do, is figure out who killed this dog. And really, that's what starts the journey. And that's what starts the journey inside of his mind. And that's the important thing, is not so much who killed the dog, but what it would be like to have a look inside of a highly functional autistic child dealing with all of this, and then moving throughout the play, the relationships with the dad. The mom this out has an affair with another man, and this is a macho dad, right, trying to really get in touch with this child that he can't even touch. The mom's relationship, trying to reach out back to his child or her child because she knows she's made an error. Him going to school, him trying to take the math test and get an A+. I think they call it A star or something like that in England because it originated in England. But a wonderful journey for this autistic child named Christopher Boone. Let's talk about the stage and lighting. Alright, let's talk about the stage and how it relates to blocking and the lighting that was used, and especially the ensemble characters. So built into the stage, it's got everything that the actors need, right? You got the cubby holes that have everything inside, the train tracks that Christopher uses to get closer to his mom. He keeps pulling them out in different sections of the stage. The actors have everything they need on stage. They just move them around in pieces. And the beautiful thing is, even though they stay on stage all the time, you don't really notice them there, because what you can do with a box like this, especially with all the LED panels, is you shut off all the panels, you light up the segments just like Billie Jean Michael Jackson to the squares that you need, and then you light it, and then everything else is black. A great example is there was this one scene where Chris is moving through the street and he runs into the elderly lady that he interviewed, and they're just talking in the street, and she wants to tell him something, and she says, hey, I think we should go to the park. And then boom, just like that, the lighting changes, some ensemble members bring out some blocks, boom, they sit down, and now they're in the park. And that's just one example. The entire play is full of quick, swift transitions by ensemble members that are playing multiple roles. And the other thing I wanted to mention is the timing that the person that is doing the lighting cues or the activation of the animations. The lighting person probably can't be the same person as the animation person. You got to be on point, because there was a lot of scenes where, you know, Chris would move like this and the animations would follow his finger around. There's another animation where he's pointing and trying to figure out calculations, and boom, they're popping up everywhere. And the two big ones I remember, the two ensemble members picked up Chris as he was walking on the side of the wall, and the animation had to follow the man. If you miss one of those, that would be horribly off. The second one I remember was there was a scene where it was almost like he was floating and walking down an escalator on the back wall. That was ridiculous. If you missed a cue on that, game over, Jehovah. But it's full of examples like that. That's just two. The last thing I wanted to mention is the ensemble. Now, normally, you know, an ensemble like in Rent, they sing. These guys most of the time are silent. They don't say a lot. But the key thing that they added for me was it let you know when Chris's mind was in stress. They would walk across really quickly depending on what role they were playing, and they would just continuously be in and out. But in the blink of an eye, when Christopher got his focus back, boom, what he was concentrating on was there with that one person. The lighting lit him up. The segments that they were standing on were there, and they scattered just like cockroaches when you turn on the light. Boom, they were gone. What a fantastic job. Smooth transitions, awesome blocking, awesome lighting. What a great stage, and what a great job the main character did that I saw. And it's been played by multiple people, but you can't have a weak actor here, because I promise you this, after years about thinking about this play, the one thing I'm going to remember is Christopher Boone. So guys, that's the curious incident of the dog in the nighttime. If you get a chance to see it, if it's nearby, you gotta go see it. This has to be on your must-see list for theatrical plays. So guys, hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, please give me the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to Chemo 365, please do. And remember, I'll catch you guys later.